This is Educated Artistry. I am your host, fellow lash artist, hype girl, and business coach, Kayla Hertz. Listen along for knowledge, insight, and education into the lash industry. This podcast is created to help you make the best business decisions for your own lash career. You all deserve the lash career of your dreams, and I want our weekly chats to help get you there. Get ready for a lot of transparency and some real talk. All right, welcome to this week's episode, everyone. Today, I am joined by Claire Huber, who is a multi-passionate entrepreneur who loves seeing people level up. She is a lash artist, speaker, educator, mom, and you can't forget, plant lover. Claire believes everyone can have an abundance of success, and her mission is to help everyone find their path there. Claire found her home in the industry, making her clients feel beautiful and helping beauty entrepreneurs build systems in their business, create online courses, and grow email marketing systems so they can build their lash empires in the way that fits their personal goals and vision of success. Today, we are going to be diving deep and talking to Claire about email marketing and how to start, grow, and the benefits of having an email list for your business. So, welcome to the show, Claire. I'm so excited to dive into this topic with you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited. Any chance I get to talk email marketing, I'm in. Just tell me when and where I'm in.
I loved when I messaged you and you're like, oh, heck yeah. Like, I'm already getting excited about it. And I was like, oh, I love that. That's when you know. And you have a podcast as well, don't you?
I do the Vivian Claire podcast. However, it's not as consistent as I would like, but it's there. Yeah.
Girl, I get it. It's hard to stay consistent with podcasts. But that's there. I know you have a lot of episodes already done that people can go check out too. So that's exciting. So let's start off with, at what point in your career did you see the value of having an email list and of email marketing?
So before I did lashes, part of a side hustle I had was teaching people how to make handmade natural soap and to make candles and bath bombs and stuff. Not a lot of people know that. It was great. And my husband has always been an entrepreneur. So he was like, yo, you should get on an email list. And then it just exploded from there. So I started doing email lists from day one of being a lash artist. I saw the value in being with email marketing. And it's been the number one driver in my business ever since, whether it's talking lashes or my business coaching side. So I always saw the value there. But I think if we just look around, and I apologize in advance because I get all over the place with email marketing. But if we just look around at the world, like this was Black Friday, how many emails did you get? There's power there. And I'm sure a lot of people recognize that. They just don't know where to even go with it.
In your opinion, why is email marketing so important to have in your business?
It's such a good way to cut out the noise of social media. And sometimes people think that I'm hating on social media when I get into this topic, and I'm not, because if you see me on the gram, you know I love social media. However, email marketing cuts the noise because email open rates, at least in the beauty industry, are like 19%, which means 19% of people you send an email to are going to open it, right? Which is a lot of people depending on the size of your list. And social media, you might get 1 or 2% of your followers seeing your stuff. So I really want it to be a way, like I said, for people to cut the noise of social media and just really show importance, right? If you want something that's going to be seen and that's going to be valued, it comes through email. Always. Even as we're discussing this podcast, all the details you sent me for the podcast, my recording link to meet up with you, the questions you're going to ask me, you didn't send them in my DMs, you sent them in email, right? Because you want to make sure Claire gets this information. So that's one thing that why you need to have it in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think too, depending on who your target client is, especially if you're doing services, it may sound crazy, but not everybody has social media or checks it regularly. And there are still people that don't go on it often. They don't have it. I had a client and she's looking for a new lash artist because our schedules aren't going to work anymore. And I'm going to be out on vacation. And I was like, oh, I can send you a couple Instagram links of the girls. And she was like, I don't have Instagram. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Well, I'll figure this out. I just had to dig a little deeper to get their contact info. But I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, not everybody has Instagram. So you can't just rely on that as your only source of bringing clients in, but everybody has an email. Probably more than one. So, how do you think a solo beauty business owner can leverage an email list within their business to help grow it?
So one of the biggest things I find is retaining your clients with email, right? So a lot of times people will be like, well, I don't necessarily sell a product, so I'm not going to be emailing all the time, but it's keeping your community tight, keeping your community together and having yourself always in the forefront of people's minds. Because if you think of your time being a solopreneur, right, you've seen a lot of clients and not all of them have stayed the whole time you've been in business. Some come here and there, but it always keeps you at the forefront of people's mind. And it is much, much easier to renew a relationship with a previous client than it is to prospect a whole new one. People will always say, I need more clients. I need new clients, new clients. No, you already have a big list of clients, right? That you can go back through and kind of, I say quote unquote recycle, but renew those relationships with them. So having that really keeps, your community and you at the forefront of people's minds. I've had clients who have come back to me, I haven't seen them for 5 years. And they're like, I get your email and I always open it and I love seeing what you're up to. And like, I really want lashes again. So I'm going to see you, right? If I wasn't communicating with them all that time, they would have maybe just gone to Instagram or to Google and found whoever.
Yeah, that is so true. Keeping them in the forefront or keeping you in the forefront of their mind is so smart. I feel like email lists personally are really undervalued in the beauty industry. And in your opinion, if you agree with that, why do you think that is?
I think this goes back, any kind of business skills, especially in beauty, often aren't taught. Like we focus so heavily on the skill, right? You want to be able to create that beautiful, perfect, symmetrical 8D fan, but you don't know anything about an email list, right? Because we're so heavily focused on skill. So I think it starts down at education. People aren't being taught right from the ground up about the business side of business. And I think sometimes, especially as solopreneurs, if you don't have a salon or staff, we see it as not a business. Sometimes when I talk to some of the students, they're like, well, it's just a little thing. It's just a side hustle. I'm like, it's your main income and you're bringing in 6K a month. That's not a side hustle. You know what I mean? Like that's not a little business. So we look at Nike or Old Navy or Apple or Starbucks and we think these big businesses, but even though maybe you have 20 clients, you're still a business. So part of the education ground up, and number two would be definitely people not seeing it as an asset they need because they're not a big business.
Yeah, and I think going back to what you said earlier of keeping you on the forefront of clients' minds, even if it was a client before or maybe a client that's interested someday in booking with you, but they can't right now or anything. I mean, I think that's so important, even just to gather those type of emails too and have them book with you in the future when they're ready.
Exactly. No, 100%. And you never know who knows who. So just because someone doesn't want to get lashes, say they were a previous client, they don't want to keep getting lashes, but they see your email and then they're like, oh, my sister wants lashes, or, this person wants lashes. It's networking, right? Building your community. That's one thing too with your email list. I really encourage people to call it their community. So I always say, join my community, be part of my community, because that's what it is.
So, for somebody that doesn't have an email list, or maybe they just started one, but they haven't really sent out emails or anything, what are some tips on getting started on just getting a list built out?
It depends like which route you're going, like say you're an educator or if you're a lash artist, but it's going to be similarities like along the way. You need an email marketing system. So a lot of people will say, oh, well, I have my Gmail account or I have my Yahoo account, if anybody is still using Yahoo. I might be sounding very old, but you need an email marketing system. So that's going to be, you probably, if you're listening, you've probably heard of MailChimp. I absolutely love FlowDesk. It's my go-to. Kayla, I know you love FlowDesk too. I'm ride or die FlowDesk. I tell everybody about it. There's a million email marketing systems out there, and you're going to want to find one that meets your needs. One of the biggest things to think of, because sometimes in business, it's expensive to run a business, and we're always thinking about the coins. And with email marketing systems, there's MailChimp, for example, they have a free version. So a lot of people will hop on, and MailChimp is a big system. I don't want to sound like I'm knocking it, but when I say meet your needs, you can have 100 free subscribers or something on there. But as your list grows, you're going to have to start to pay. So I really encourage people when you're looking for your system to find one that's going to suit your needs long term, right? Because maybe right now you're like, well, I'm only going to 20 people on my list, but we're not thinking small, okay? We're thinking big. So you may have 5,000 people on your email list one day. So that's one of the things. Sometimes it's worth it to spend the coin. But go to Google, type in Flowdesk versus MailChimp, type in ConvertKit versus Flowdesk, and see what the pros and cons are, because there's going to be stuff on there for you. That's one thing. You need the system. Another thing that I really highly recommend is you're going to need a professional email. So it's another thing. I know it's going to cost a little bit of coin, but it really helps with your open rates. So not at hotmail.com, at gmail.com. It's going to be at your domain. However, if you're listening, you're like, Claire, I don't even have a website right now. It's okay. You can start at the Hotmail, you can start at the Gmail, but something you probably want to work towards is a professional email at your domain.
Even if they don't have a website, but they have their domain bought, but they don't have a website set up yet, can they still get the professional email set up?
For sure, yeah. And your domain, like if you go on something, I don't know, there's a million, but if you go on GoDaddy, sometimes you can get your domain for like 99 cents.
Which you should buy your domain anyway, like, right away, so you have that website there, and it's a little bit cheaper, and you're not having to, like, build out a full website right away.
Even getting your professional email with Google and stuff, you can sometimes get a deal where it's like $3 for 6 months. Just you just got to shop the sales. But I'm always cognizant of the fact that I know it costs a lot to get so many systems in place. So you have your system, you have your email, you're like, Claire, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's get it going. You're going to want to collect some emails. Now, if you are a solo service provider or you have a salon or you're an educator, either way, you're going to already have emails in your system, right? And especially if you do online booking, it's all wrapped in a neat little bow for you, all the emails you've collected. So you can add those into your email marketing system. Now, I will say you can't just add random emails to your email list. It's illegal. There's laws, right? You can't do that. And that happens to me sometimes. I'm like, I never subscribed to this thing, but I get it in my email. So they're not supposed to do it. And you don't want to put people on your list who don't want to be there also, right? Because they're just going to get angry. They're going to flag you as spam, and that's going to hurt your open rates. So you're going to want to collect emails from clients you already have. Make sure you have their permission. Through your email marketing system, there'll be things like, you go on a website, there's like a pop-up box. You can create those for your website or like a link through social media that you can post to ask people to subscribe to your list. So I would say first off, start with the emails you have, and then, create that to ask people to join your list. But please, please, please don't be discouraged if you just have 5 people, 10 people, or you're asking people, join my list. And they're like, no. Not everybody's going to want to join, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about getting those people that actually want to read your emails and are excited to see your emails and participate in them. And I will say, like, because I use Flowdesk as well, and it was really easy to take my emails that I collected from my Square account with all my clients and to transfer them over to Flowdesk. They like have CSV file or something that you can download, transfer it, and then it's all in its own segment too, where I can be like, this is just my lash clients. Then you can have some that are lash artists, which I really loved too, because I didn't want to have 2 separate platforms to be able to talk to 2 different audiences when I was, like, really balancing both of them. So, I think that's something that I really love about, Flowdesk too.
Yeah, no, segmenting your list is huge, especially because we have people who are multi-passionate or doing lots of different things, and you want to be able to talk to your clients and talk to your students and not send the same email, right, to both groups of people. You can just very easily see and break it off, right? Even with students, if you have lash lift students and you have lash extension students, you can break that again and just send the relevant emails to each group. It makes it very simple. It is a setup process, but I'm telling you, it'll make your life 100% easier.
Yeah, and, like, once it's set up, which is great. You don't really have to do too much but click this segment, send. So, what are some ways that people can get people to sign up for their email list?
Okay. So yeah, so you have your emails that you got. Now the next thing is called a freebie or a giveaway, something like that. So it's something that is free, and I know we don't always love to give away free, but free yet valuable that someone will give in exchange for their email, because there's so many people trying to market to you through email marketing. There is a lot of people, and there's reason for that, because it's like the number one marketer of all time. Literally all time. It's better than putting money in Google ads or Facebook ads. Everyone's getting asked for their email all the time. So you need to entice people to get on your list. So when I say something free yet valuable, it can be, this is for educators, this part, like it could be an ebook, it could be a audio recording, it could be a bonus podcast episode. If you are a lash artist now, it can be a little bit harder because the freebies you're going to give out can be a little more limited. So a lot of times it is a discount or it is an added value. I don't always like to do discounts, so sometimes it's added value. Like you could say, get on my list to find out about sales. Your first full set is 15% off, or get a free cleanser when you join my list, anything like that. Usually it's a little more money based as opposed to a freebie. You can always I've seen lash artists do what lash extension type is for you, and you can do a quiz so that people click through a quiz, and then, to get their results, they have to submit their email.
That's really smart because I was thinking when I was prepping for this episode, I'm like, man, it's a little harder for lash artists, like to give some sort of freebie or anything, unless it's a product or giving away part of a service or a discount. So, yeah, that quiz idea is really cool too, because it does seem like it's more of just an exchange, right? Like I'm giving you something and in return for your email. What do you say is a good, and we can do this for either, or we can do it for each of them, for like the amount of emails to send? Because I know a lot of people are worried, like, I don't want to sound spammy. I don't want to bother people. What do you think is a good amount to send?
So I always tailor it depending on the time of year. So, well, first off, I used to always teach send an email every single week, but this was almost pre the last couple of years where everybody's online, right? Like everybody's online now. So I say at least once a month, bi-weekly or once a month to send an email. I'm on the once a month tip right now for the most part. Unless you are launching something like a new service or new product, you actually are going to send lots and lots of emails and you're going to feel like you're spammy. When I launch a course, I'm sending sometimes 2 or 3 emails a day and it feels very spammy, but you want to get the information out there and it's part of the sales process, like a sales workflow. But once a month, I think is good.
I want to get into talking about launching something and kind of your strategy with that. But before we hop into that, as far as with a solo beauty entrepreneur, what would you say that they should send emails about that is valuable, even if it's a once a month, but like something that a client's actually going to want to read or to get clients in or anything like that?
Yeah, and I mean, how many times can you tell people to wash their lashes or don't go near a barbecue, right? Like it seems like it gets old. So I always err on and teach on the side of telling people to talk about themselves. And we don't always like to do that. But for example, why did someone choose me? They chose me because they want to see me, Claire Hooper, right? Because they want to come to me. So use your newsletter to do that. Talk about yourself, what you're doing, what's going on in your business, what's going on in your life. Make it a friendship thing, like you're having a conversation with somebody. So even LashCon, I wrote to my clients about LashCon. And I sent them pictures in the email and talked about, what I talked about and who I met and how I had In-N-Out Burger for the first time, things that are completely random. And then at the end, I'm like, hey, did you book for Christmas? At the bottom of the email sort of idea. So I think if you are a solopreneur, if you're not selling something in an email, it can feel like, what do I talk about? Talk about yourself.
Oh, I love that. And I know that people are going to be like, oh, that's so hard. But no, I mean, it's the same on Instagram and stuff and being in your stories and like talking about yourself because clients do want to form that connection with you. And with email, you already still kind of have it. You have it more so than I think Instagram anyway, just by having that email. But, it's like talking about yourself, sharing things about yourself. You don't have to tell everybody like your deepest, darkest secrets. But yeah, talking about your experiences and letting them grow that connection with you is really important. And it's not weird to talk about yourself because at the end of the day, I feel like you can be an okay lash artist, but people are coming to you because of you.
1,000%. Yeah. And you can even put links to like recipes I like. I'll talk about local restaurants in the community that I'm really loving that people should check out. So yeah, there's options.
That's so brilliant. Have you done any like collaboration type stuff with your email list? Like if you're shouting out local restaurants or anything like that? Or do you just do that because you want to form connection?
Yeah, I just do it. But that is a really good, I suggest people go and do that, especially if you want to do complimentary services, right? Maybe a hairstylist in your community, lash artist, you guys blast each other in your monthly newsletter.
When you guys started your lash business, how did you set your pricing? Did you actually dig into the numbers and figure out what your cost of business was and what your hourly rate should be? Like, if you did, bravo, I'm so proud of you. But let me guess, if you were like me, you set your prices based on the girls in your area because you wanted to be fair and not step on any toes. And in hindsight, that sounds great. But what if the cost of your business is completely different to the cost of other people in your area? And now you're actually losing money. We can't just compare and price the exact same compared to everybody else because our businesses are all unique to each of us. And this was something that I had learned the hard way when I had just priced based on my competition, other girls in my area that did lashes. And when I actually broke down my hourly rates, I found out I was losing $24,000 a year on my volume fill services compared to my classic fill services, and even more money an hour on my full sets. And this is because I wasn't charging hourly and I didn't realize how much money I was actually losing, especially on my best selling service, which was volume lashes. So this resulted in not making consistent money for your time overworking and being underpaid for the best selling services, and attracting clients that don't align with your business and policies. This is not the vibe. But what if you had a pricing structure that generated a healthy profit without breaking your back? Literally. In the Powerhouse Pricing Masterclass, I break down how to price your services from a point of profit and abundance. Own your pricing and feel confident. Handle client objections. Ditch the this pricing is close enough to what I want to make mindset. Now, this is the vibe, babe. If you want to join the Pricing Powerhouse Masterclass, I have dropped the link in the show notes, and you guys are welcome to come join us. And you can use code Educated Artistry 10 for 10% off of your purchase. I would love to see you guys in there, and let's get you going from what the fuck should I charge to confidence in your pricing without looking at anyone else's business but yours. Once again, head over to the link in the show notes and use code Educated Artistry 10 for 10% off of your masterclass. So let's get into talking about like leveraging if you're launching a product or a service or a course or anything, and you said you can send up to 2 to 3 emails a day. Do you have a strategy, or what's kind of your process with launching something new?
So when you're launching something new, I think the biggest thing is you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to create the need, right? And it's important that people see the journey. Like, okay, here's my product, here's your life before the product, and here's your life after the product, right? So my email marketing course, this is your life before and this is your life after. But those emails in between need to tell you all the reasons why you need to get it, right? So in there, you're going to have the breakdown of your course, but it's going to be more storytelling. You're going to talk about testimonials. You're going to talk about why you created the course. You're going to talk about like how it's changed your life and your business. So there's so many emails, but it's going back to the story. And one email in there too is usually you're kind of trying to break oppositions to it, why people would say no, they don't want the course, or no, they don't want this product or service, right? So with lash artists, like say something, people lash extensions damage your natural lashes. Like that's probably the number one asked question we get, right? So then you're going to have a reason why they don't damage your natural lashes, and you're going to go through that sort of thing. With email marketing, I don't need it because I have social media. So maybe I'll have an entire email why it's elite to social media.
Do you usually start your launch process like a certain amount of days before your course actually launches, or weeks? How do you kind of decide that?
So for me, I do a 30-day launch pathway, I call it. So 30 days leading up, you would have, and this is kind of in course creation, but in your course creation map for 30 days before the day you say the product is available, you're going to have different things you're doing each day. So the emails are all, this email's going out this day, this email's going out this day. It's all regulated. But I think 30 days leading up, you should be organized with what emails you're sending for a launch.
I'm sure you've seen like the difference between, I mean, you've been doing email marketing since the beginning, so I'm sure it's been successful either way. But have you seen the difference from where you get sales when you're using emails versus posting on social media about your course?
Yeah, I would say 90% of my sales come from email.
Email? See, that's
Yeah, 90%.
amazing.
That's a lot,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot. So, like I said, it cuts the noise, but part of that is building a really good email list community. I've been very intentional about the kind of freebies that I create so that the people who join my community on email are people who are primed to want to know more, right? And want to learn more about the products that I sell. So, I'll just say it straight up. I have a program called Creation to Launch, and it's teaching you how to create an online course. I'm relaunching it and redoing it, and it's launching in February. So I'm going to be creating a freebie that's for people who want to create an online course so that they're on my list. So by the time I launch my course, they're already there. But it's people who are specifically interested in that topic.
Do you have any like do's and don'ts of email marketing or like while you're building your list?
One, don't just, like I said already, don't put random people on your list. Don't buy lists, because you can buy a list online and you could be like, oh, I have 20,000 subscribers. This is amazing. I'm going to get rich. And it won't work. So don't buy your subscribers. I mean, that's the same with social media too, right? It doesn't work out. And try not to put, I guess it's a tip, but try not to put free in the title too much, or sale. It's hard because if you're selling and you're having a sale, you want to put sale, but it could end up putting you in spam. So just be careful with your language. And I know we can't get into everything, but your subject line is important. So you can even, here's a hot take, go on Pinterest. You can find, people will give you examples of email subject lines on there.
That was so perfect. That was gonna be my next question is, like, have you had any good subject lines that you're like, "Ooh," because 'cause I'll always go on Pinterest or Google, like, interesting subject lines or, stuff like that just to kinda see if the open rate changes. Have you had any where you're like, "This worked really well?"
My best ones are when I put people's name in the subject line. So that's the thing on FlowDesk too. You can have people's names. So you just put the at symbol and then you can say insert their name. So whoever's on your list, if one goes to Kayla or one goes to me, it's going to say Dear Claire, Dear Kayla. So that's a nice thing because it seems very personal. Although like let's be real, we are sending a mass email to a lot of people, but we want everyone to feel like they are having a one-on-one conversation. So having people's name is big or an emoji sometimes in the subject line.
No, that's great. So getting into Flowdesk and stuff too, what have been some of your like your favorite features about it? And I know they have a new checkout process, which before we started recording, I was asking about because I haven't looked into it yet. But do you want to talk about some of like your favorite features of Flowdesk and why you chose it?
Floda, so part of it was just it's really pretty was part of it. It's very beautiful. So you don't have to be a designer. They have tons of templates. They even have like some copy on there, like copy already written into the emails that you can just kind of change if you're getting started with email marketing. Their customer service is elite. Like they have a Facebook group we were talking about. They have moderators in there that will help you through any question. Like sometimes I still get questions, and you go in. That's really great. The user friendliness of it is great. They also have a referral program. Like, why not make extra money? Um, there's so many good things about Flowdesk. I could just go on for days, right? It's so good. And we were talking about their checkout process. So this is like huge. So if you are wanting to get into course creation or digital products, but you're like, I don't want to do a whole course yet. I want to just make an ebook or a cheat sheet or something like that. They have a checkout process now where literally they're your e-commerce on Flowdesk. So I'm so hype about it. I'm like, okay, where do I even start? But it's super affordable and you can have a sales page, which that's even a whole other topic, but creating sales page, it's already created for you and you put in all the info about your ebook and all the different things you can do with it. And then you can check out right on Flowdesk. You don't have to add a button to your website. You don't have to go get Shopify. It's all through Flowdesk, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check that out. So I'm excited that you like it a lot because I was just playing around with it and I was like, "Ooh, this looks really cool." I need to like dig into it for a few hours. Something too, and this is like kind of before, like for me, because I've been using it for a couple years, before Instagram let everybody add links to their stories and stuff. That was one thing that I loved about having email marketing is you could give direct links to your clients where before, unless you had 10K followers or whatever it was, like you could never give a direct link unless it was in your bio of your Instagram. And so that was something too where I'm like, you get all these extra benefits where you can have people click that link right away. Like we know people, the attention span is getting shorter and shorter and smaller and smaller. Like you don't want to be like, oh, click here and then go here to find this link. You want it just right there for them to click. So, and that you can have multiple buttons too, because that's what I do with the podcasts and stuff. I've got the Apple Podcast link there, the Spotify link, the leave a review link. They're all right there. So it's really easy for people to grab.
Yeah, it's almost like your own mini blog. And the thing too is with email, like we said before, but it's seen as important. Like in the morning, you pick up your phone, you like read through your emails, see what's important. And you're like, oh, I have an email from Claire. Oh, I have an email from Kayla, and you go through and you read it with importance. Social media, we're just scroll, 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 scroll. There's not importance. It's sometimes like just wasting time, like, just entertainment, just filling the time. Not like, oh my goodness, Claire's launching a new course.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. So and then two, I'm gonna add because Flowdesk does, we were talking about like the money, how all these systems can cost a lot. And I don't remember exactly how much Flowdesk is now, but we are gonna add Claire's referral link. So if you want to check it out, I know they do give you a free trial for 30 days, I believe. No credit card required. If you love it and you want to sign up, then you'll get, I believe, a discount with your referral link too. So I think it's $38 a month, right?
Yes, it's 38 full price, and I believe you get 50% for a year. Like, it's a really good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super good deal, and even at $38 a month, I'm like, "This is amazing for everything that you get with it." So we'll definitely add that into the show notes. That way you guys can check it out and you can try it for free, and then you do have a freebie for email list? building,
I
right?
do. I
Okay.
do. Yeah. So it's 3 steps to get started. So there are a couple things that will overlap with what we talked about today, but there's some other extra little pieces in there for sure that are going to help you get started on your email journey. So it's 3 steps, and guys, it's done through email. So you're going to get like 3 emails for 3 days. You're going to get an email every day talking about different steps to get you started.
That is amazing. So you got those two things just to bundle together and get your email list started.
Yeah, so you get a vibe of like, okay, I can see how email can work for my business because you get a full example of how it's working for my business.
No, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you were talking so much about email list and email marketing. And I hope that more people start taking it seriously and add it into their business. And you gave so many amazing tips. Even I was thinking, I was like, oh, I should send recipes out to people. Like, that's such a good idea just to create that connection.
Yeah, and like email, like I said, I know, like I was like, it's the greatest of all time. It's the goat of marketing, but like a stat is it has a 4,400% return on investment. So every dollar you put into email marketing, you can expect $44 in return. Now, of course, that's going to vary from person. That's the average, right? But I will say in my business, I have never sent an email asking for money and not made money. Never. So whether I am promoting a course, I'm promoting retail products I have, I'm asking clients to book appointments, someone always books, someone always buys, someone always enrolls in the course. Is it always 100 people? No. Sometimes it's one or two, but it's still always a moneymaker.
Absolutely. I was just thinking of a couple examples where there was a couple years ago and I had sent out, I had a full set opening or something. And I think it was actually during the holiday time. And I was like, if you want lashes, during the holiday season, definitely book out. And I had 2 people book right away. And when I looked who they were people who are not on Instagram. So I was like, oh, if I wouldn't have even sent that, they wouldn't have even rebooked. And they came in for new full sets. They hadn't been in for a while. And then was it like a year and a half ago where Instagram went down for like a day? And
Yeah,
everyone
everybody
was
panics.
flipping out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true, like, we don't own
Mhm.
our Instagram followers. We don't
No.
we don't own our TikTok followers, but you own your email list.
Yeah, you legit own it. Like if you were to sell your business, your email list has a value to it. If you're listing all the assets of your business, your email list would be labeled as an asset and you could sell it, sometimes up to $1 a subscriber.
That is insane.
Yeah. So if you have 10,000 people on your email list, it's valuable.
That's very valuable, and why not start now building an asset for your business? That is such a cool way to think about it, and I didn't even realize that you could sell that. I mean, I knew you could sell email lists, but yeah, just adding it as a value to your business too, like, wow, that's amazing.
Well, I don't think you could sell your Instagram. The fact that Instagram can go down like that, don't build your entire business on it. Have more streams. Instagram's great. It's fun. Like I said, I love it, but use it for what it is, like entertainment and building relationships with people, and use email for, business growth.
Yeah, and that's where it doesn't matter how many Instagram followers you have.
No, like my email list, I have way more subscribers than Instagram followers. Like Instagram, I have 3,000 followers or something, which is not a lot in the world of followers.
Cool. Well, this has been so educational. I feel like I even learned a ton and I love like email marketing. So this has been amazing. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you and learn more about you? And I will put your links in the show notes for your freebie and the referral link for FLODESK. But yeah, let people know where they can find you and learn more.
Yeah, so you can find me on the gram is one place, and that is underscore Claire Hooper. And you can also find me like through the freebie, then you'll be in my community through email marketing. And then vivianclaire.com is my website.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Claire. It has been so wonderful having you on and getting all this knowledge from you. And I hope everybody learned a lot. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Educated Artistry. You can find me on Instagram at Educated Artistry Podcast or KK Artistry. I am also on TikTok at KK Artistry. Listen, subscribe, and please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. If you're interested in advertising on the podcast, please email me educatedartistrypodcast@gmail.com.